Hi, today we're going to learn how to use Google Apps to take a picture of yourself on your computer and then use Snagit to Photoshop your background away, and then we're going to learn to put that Photoshopped version of you back into your poster. So the first thing that you're going to see is that we have Google Drive open and we're going to create a new Google slide. We don't need this title page because we're just making a single page photo, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that and hit the delete key, and that will delete my slide. I'm going to click on this little down arrow to add a blank slide. I know I'm going too fast maybe for some of you, but you can always hit pause or rewind. So the next thing I want to do is our posters generally are not going to be this widescreen. That's not really the way posters go. Posters are more of a portrait shape. So we're going to go ahead and change our portrait by clicking on File and going to Page Setup. You see the default is 16 by 9. We're going to change that to a custom. We're going to change it to an 8 by 10. That's the size of most portrait photos. So if we ever print out your poster, then this would be a good starting point, a good ratio to use. All right, so now we have a nice blank page. We can get rid of this theming too. We don't need any of that. So I'm going to call this poster. And then we're going to insert an image. Now I'm going to use the built-in camera, the webcam that's on my computer. And so I'm going to use camera. And there we go. Now you see that I have a little bit of a green screen behind me. I'm going to try to kind of scooch down and see if I can fit as much of me as I can. I have an idea for the type of photograph I want, so I'm going to hold my hand out like this, and I'm going to then click on the photo. And if that's the one that I want to use, then I'm going to click Insert. Now, the first time you guys use your camera, it may ask you if you want to allow it. You have to allow it. If you hit block, then you got to restart the whole program and unblock it, allow the camera to be used. So now I have inserted a photo, but I don't want, I'm going to resize it. When you resize it, if you grab it on one of the corners, that's the best way because it keeps the aspect ratio. Otherwise, I'm going to look really squished in some way. It will give you this guide that when you see that red diagonal, that's the original format. So I'm going to make myself quite larger, and I'm going to slide myself down a little bit. But then I'm going to use a program. See, I don't want any of this background. That's why I'm using this green screen. So I'm going to take a photo of just this part. And I'm going to use a program called Snagit. I'm going to go to this window here and type in Snagit, S-N-A-G. And you can see there are two different programs. This orange one is Snagit, and this blue one is Snagit Editor. For us to take the picture, we're going to use Snagit 2018, the orange one. And this will pop up. Usually for you guys, it'll say all-in-one. But we want to take an image that's like a photograph, and we're going to do a capture. And I really just want me, so I'm going to cut out as much of the other stuff as I can. And I'll show you why. So you just really draw a box. Now the first time you use Snagit, it gives you a little opportunity for a quick tutorial. Mine doesn't do that because I've been using Snagit quite a bit. So anyway, I draw a box around the part that I want to keep, and Snagit 2018 Editor will automatically pop up, and that's what this is. This is Snagit Editor, you can see right here. And I want to get rid of all of the background. I don't want that background showing up. And that's why I use this kind of makeshift green screen. There's just green crepe paper. It doesn't have to be green. You could take your picture standing in front of a whiteboard or any other color paper and it'll be fine. I want to go to Fill, and most of you, the default color will be red. We want to change this fill to this checkerboard, because when we use a certain file type called a PNG, that checkerboard does not show up. So whatever is in the background will all of a sudden it'll be gone. So I'm going to click on all of the green areas that I can to get rid of as much as possible. I can zoom in to get a little bit better perspective by clicking here and zooming in. And it's okay if there's a little bit of a green area behind like around my edges, because the image of me is going to be much smaller in this. I mean, this is 300%, so I just really need to get just kind of a good amount of that green gone. But look what happened here. This took away some of my arm, so I need to undo that, and I'm going to have to get down with an eraser for that part. So let's see if I can zoom out, and I'll see if I can get rid of some of this. See, that got rid of my hair, so I don't want that. So now I'm just going to have to get down with this eraser. You'll have to click on this More button and go down to Eraser to select it. And your default's going to be kind of small, where it's going to be a little bit inconvenient. So you want to make it a little bit wider, about halfway. And we're just going to scrub out all of these extra things, all of these little stray marks. You have to be kind of careful. If you do make a mistake, the undo button is right here. You can go back a step. So just go ahead and give that a try. But you really want to just get rid of all the parts that you don't want. You don't want to show up on your poster. I don't want my office showing up on my poster. I just want me. So it's okay to give myself a little bit of a haircut. It's kind of making me look like I've got a mohawk though, but that's a little too much. So let's just give myself a little zoom. It's a little hard to tell which is my hair and which is not. I just want to get rid of that little spot right there. Okay, fair enough. Alright, so now around here, around those fingers. Now, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be pretty close. As long as I can tell the shape, then that's fine. I can also make my eraser a little bit more narrow to get in these little areas between my fingers. And I can take as much time as I want on this. But remember, I'm zoomed in at 300% right now, so I don't really need to get every little bit. I really just want to get rid of a lot of these stray marks. The little green areas around my fingers, that's nice to get rid of, but it's not completely necessary. So now I'm going to zoom out. That looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it like this. Like, you can still see some of the green around it, but I'm going to live with that. So the next thing I need to do is I need to go to File and Save As. The reason why I go to Save As instead of Save is because I want to see where it's saved. Now I can see that this is saved. When I save it, it's in my document section in a folder called Snagit. You can see some of the other things that I've worked on. And this is where it's going to be saved. So I'm going to call this World, because that's going to be the topic of my poster. And I want to make sure that my file is a PNG. That's important, because if it's a JPEG or something else, it's not going to work. I want it PNG. And I'm going to go ahead and save it. Now I can close this because I'm done with that. I'm going to go back to my my poster. I'm going to get rid of this drawing because I don't want it anymore. So I just select it and hit the delete key. And now I'm going to go Insert Image, and I'm going to upload it from my computer. Now, my default already is going to my documents, but you can see that where you want to go is over here. You may have to look for your photo, but over here you're going to select Documents and then Snagit. If you saved it someplace else, then you're going to have to save it, go wherever you saved it to. And I'm just going to select this photo. This is the photo that I want to use. And I'm going to resize it. And now you can see that white background is there instead of the background that I had. But I want a completely different background. So I'm going to click off of my picture, and you can see that there's a background here. Now for my theme, I want my theme to be a rainbow. So I did that a little too fast. So I go to background, and then next to image, I say choose. And from here, I get to do a search on the internet, and I'm going to type in a rainbow. Now these are all options that I can have in my picture, so I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm going to select it and say done, And now you can see that I have this rainbow and it's coming on my head, but for my idea to work, I really wanted to go to my hand. I'm going to right click my image and I want to rotate, but I want it to flip horizontally. I wanted to flip my image horizontally, so now the rainbow is actually landing in my hand, which is kind of what I want. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to actually drop me down so that this line, it's kind of nice that this actually has this river. I'm going to leave right there. And I really want this rainbow to shine on something that I'm holding. That's the idea that I have. So I want to insert another image. So I'm going to go to Insert, Image, and this time instead of uploading from my computer, I'm going to search the web. And I want a picture of the Earth. But what I really need is a PNG file. So I'm going to type in Earth PNG. Now remember, the PNG is the kind of image where the background won't show up. So that's really what I want. I don't want a picture of the Earth right here with a white box around it that I can't get rid of. So this is the one I'm going to search for. And this one looks pretty good. So I'm going to go and try this one. And I'm going to say Insert. And so now I have this picture of the Earth that I'm going to position in my hand as best I can. Maybe something like that. That's actually not bad. So I can live with that. So now I have this nice rainbow shining on the Earth, and this is looking like a nice poster. I don't have any text yet, so I need to add some text. I can go to this box with a T around it. That's the text box. If I also, couldn't find it, I can go to Insert and text box here. So it doesn't really make a difference. Then I'm going to draw a box where I want my text to be, and I want to choose a new font. So if I don't see a font that I like here, I can even go to More Fonts and choose one of these to add to the fonts. So let's see if I see something that I like. I will go ahead and choose this one randomly. Oh, I like this quicksand one. I'm going to do that one. So we'll say OK. Now 14 is pretty small for a poster, so I'm going to make it quite large. I'm going to make it 72, and I like it bold. And I can see this is kind of a dark color for the most part, so I need to start choosing a color that's going to stand out. And this is one that is not visible here, so I'm going to type it in here. We are the world. It's a little too big, so I'm going to highlight this text and make it a little bit smaller because I want it to fit on one line, give it a little bit more pop. And I want it centered, so I can go to this button here, and this will be aligned to the left. This is centered. This is aligned to the right. I want it centered. And I can make my box a little bit larger too, and maybe fit them both in there. I can highlight this part and change the color by choosing this right here. And both of those seem to work. I'm going to put a little space in between them, and then that looks pretty good for my poster. And then I'm going to add another text box on the bottom, something like this. And same thing, I gotta start all over with a new font. I'll choose this one here. I want it to be a little bit larger, so I'll try 60 again, bold. And I will say donate today. Now you can see this dark lettering doesn't show up very well, so I'm going to choose a different color. Let's do pink this time, and I want it centered, so I'm going to click center, and I can reposition these any way that I want. And I'm pretty satisfied with the way that looks. A little exclamation mark there. So now I've got this poster that I can go ahead and print out. It's got the words, it's got the background, it's got a picture of me, it's got some props in here, and I think it gets the message across if I was looking for my inner Michael Jackson. And I think that this looks pretty good. So good luck. Rewind if you need to, and if you need any help, just ask. Thanks.